Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whenever and wherever you are. Welcome to Marlena's Chapter Break. Today we are talking about my February monthly wrap up. Now, February, I read only 5 books, which is a little bit light for me, I'll be honest. I've been super busy at work, super busy at life. My husband's about to have a second back surgery, so we're planning for that. And, things just kind of this month just kind of got away from me a little bit, but that's okay because 5 books is still good. And I thoroughly enjoyed the majority of the books that I read. Actually, I could say that I probably enjoyed all of them in some aspect. I had 2 5 stars, which I'm super excited about. And then I had a 4 star, a 3.5, and a 3 star. So overall, I think it was a really solid reading month. And let's get into the books that I read. So the first book that I finished in February was The Unmaking of June Farrow, and I absolutely loved this book. It has some magical realism, some time travel, there's a love story in here, and it just gave me all of the good feelings. In this story, you are following June Farrow, whose grandmother has passed, and June has been seeing some weird and interesting things lately. And one day she sees a door that she walks through, and it appears in the middle of nowhere and it takes her into a different life. And June has to figure out what life she actually wants to live. And I just love this book. I devoured it. I did not want to put it down. This was a very, very easy 5 star read for me. And the second book that I finished in February was It's Not Her by Mary Kubaika. I love me a good Mary Kubaika novel. I don't think there's a novel from her that I've met that I don't like. And this was really no exception. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. Um, it was a really good experience and I really enjoyed the ride, but I felt like the subject of the book I just didn't find super compelling or super interesting. And I think maybe it was a little bit formulaic for me. I'm not going to lie, but it's okay. In this book, we are following Courtney and her family are at a campground for a family vacation. Courtney's daughter ends up spending the night at her sister's house in the cabin next door. And when she wakes up in the morning, they find that Courtney's brother and sister in law have been murdered, and the oldest niece is disappeared and nowhere to be found. I thought this book had some pretty good twists. I ended up not being able to guess the actual twist at the end, but I had my theories as I read the book. I felt like I had to suspend my disbelief for just a little bit in this book, which is fine. It's fine. It's fiction. I like this book a lot, and just like I tend to do with a lot of Mary Kubaika's books, but it just didn't really stand out as one of my favorites from her, but that's okay. I will read anything she writes. She is an automatic buy author for me. But I did have a good time with it, and I think 4 stars is fair. And the third book I finished in February was Bloom by Delilah S. Dawson. And this book took me on a little bit of a ride. This book is a sapphic romance. I guess you could call it a romance. It's more like an obsessive thriller, maybe. In this book, you are following Rosemary and Ash, and Rosemary visits a farmer's market one day and she meets Ash and is automatically enamored with her. And she starts learning more about her. And as they get closer, Rosemary starts having some thoughts about who Ash is and what she is. But as the story goes on, and it's a pretty short story, I think it could qualify as a novella, but as the story goes on, the obsession becomes crazier and crazier. And then it kind of explodes into the ending. And the ending was a little crazy. I did enjoy it though. I really did. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I listened to it on audio, and I think maybe I would have liked it better if I had read the physical copy or the ebook instead. And this generally is not the type of book that I would normally read, but I had seen that it had gotten really good reviews. Some of the YouTubers that I follow really enjoyed this book, so I figured I would give it a chance. I don't regret reading it at all. I overall thought it was a good book, but it didn't really pack the punch that I was looking for, which is totally fine. But it's still a good book, and I still really enjoyed it. And next we have Dead in the Water by John Mars. I love John Mars so much. I feel like I have not met a book of his that I just genuinely did not love. This was no exception. This is the latest release from John Mars. And when I say I devoured this book, and not only did I devour this book, I was reading it in public, openly paranoid, okay, because it gave off those kind of vibes. This is more than just a mystery thriller. This is an edge of your seat. Like, I have to know what's going to happen and what's going on. In this book, you are following Damon, who has accidentally drowned in the ocean and he survives it. But while he was dead, he saw things from his past that are kind of like bringing things into question for him. So Damon is on this mission to uncover all of these things that happened in his past, and he feels like the only way that he can do it is by unaliving himself and then bringing himself back. So think if you've ever seen the movie Flatliners, this is kind of in the same vein as Flatliners. And this was a wild ride, this book. The atmosphere of this book was chilling. And honestly, as I was reading it, I didn't know if I should be rooting for Damon or not, because it's not that cut and dry. And overall, I just thought it was really good. In my opinion, it's one of John Mars's best. However, my favorite from him still is The Passengers. But I just really loved the ride that this book gave me. And also, you have a callback to, if you've ever read The Good Samaritan by John Mars, there is a callback to it. And the main character from The Good Samaritan actually has a role in this book too. So if you're curious to see what happened with Laura after The Good Samaritan ended, this book will give you some idea of where she's at now. And you don't have to read The Good Samaritan in order to enjoy this book. It reads perfectly fine as a standalone. But if you're looking for maybe a sequel to The Good Samaritan, then you can read it as a sequel as well. And last but not least, we have The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I thought it was a solid mystery thriller. I really enjoyed All Good People Here from this author, and I was really excited to pick this one up, hoping that I was going to get the same experience. And while the book did not disappoint, I don't want to say it disappointed me. Um, I just thought it was okay. It kept me entertained, and I liked the premise of it. In this book, you have Nicole and Jenna, whose sisters had both disappeared years before. One day, Jenna approaches Nick and tells her that she wants to reopen the investigation into her sister's disappearance, and Jenna drags Nick along with her, albeit reluctantly. Then Jen and Nick work together to try to uncover what happened to their sisters because there's this theory that they are both connected. And the more that Nick investigates, the more uncomfortable she gets when she realizes that people close to her might be involved in her sister's disappearance. Overall, I thought this was a really good book. I gave it 3.5 stars. The twist ending to me completely came out of left field. And really, it's a twist within a twist. The first twist I thought was great. I liked how it was executed. I thought it was very believable. And honestly, if I look back in the book, I realize, okay, this is where it was going. And it makes complete sense. But then there's another twist. And then the second twist was just like, it felt kind of convenient to me. I don't know why. It just felt like, okay, you took it just maybe a little too far, so now it's not quite believable. And I really thought that if the author just kept it at the first twist, then it would have been fine. I probably would have given it I would have given it 4 stars. Had that second twist ending not happened. But it was a good, solid mystery thriller. I really did enjoy reading it. No other notes. No other notes. And there you have it. That is my February wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate that you take the time to watch my videos. And I had to take my mic off because it just stopped working. So much fun. But anyway, if you liked any of these books, disliked any of these books, or were otherwise indifferent to them, just please put it in the comments below. I would love to talk about them with you. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.